I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
Dad, I'm so sorry. Here, we'll wipe it off.
100% exploiting your kids if you're making content with them. 100%.
As a former content kid myself, I know what it's like to grow up with a digital footprint I never asked for.
Baby, did you fall down?
The first round of vlogger kids from the 2010s have grown up and are sharing their stories. The kid is saying this is a digital footprint that she did not create.
Time for us to leave. No, we're gonna say bye.
I hate how society has normalized shoving a camera in a child's face when they are having an emotional moment.
Ow! Stop, you
Can you imagine as an adult if your partner just whipped out their camera and started filming you when you were having an emotional moment or like a meltdown? Like, ugh.
Imagine your first steps live streamed, your first tantrum monetized, your first heartbreak the center of a thumbnail. Welcome to the world of family channels, where childhood is content and privacy is optional. For some families, recording videos of their kids has become more than just a digital scrapbook. It's a full-blown business. And behind the thumbnails and brand deals lies a really, really dark reality. Welcome to Chronically Online, where we talk all things creator culture to help you become a better, and in this case, more ethical content creator. Yes, today we're talking about family channels, the many problems, the hopeful solutions, and the main question, is posting your child online ever okay? Spoiler alert, it's very much a gray area, but I would still love to hear your opinions in the comments. So how did family vlogging get so popular in the first place? Well, in the early 2010s, YouTube's algorithm was favoring longer watch times and more consistent uploads. Moms started filming their morning routines, then came the Q&As, the pranks, the challenges, and eventually, daily vlogging was born. Nowadays, momfluencing has become a billion-dollar industry. Popular family channels flaunt their mansions, cars, vacations, all funded by their millions of subscribers and billions of views. And in some cases, parents even quit their jobs because their 9-to-5s are paying pennies compared to a couple of YouTube videos and a TikTok live stream. All this sounds great on the surface. A full-time income on social media is like a content creator's dream, right? But with pretty much zero regulations for this type of content, very little breaks for children, and an extremely blurred line between home life and work life, is it worth it? When your family is your brand, how do you draw the line between content and exploitation? Some families film pretty much everything. Meltdowns, punishments, private conversations.
You're pregnant! Mom, I knew it! Mom, you're pregnant! No, Mom, no! Mom, you're gonna have to wait, no!
Your first period, your first crush, your private medical information. The list goes on and on. There have been many cases, allegedly, of children being forced to film when they're sick, repeat lines over and over again, or even cry on cue because the first time just wasn't emotional enough.
Act like you're crying. Really quick.
I didn't cry.
Put your hand like this. But let them see your mouth. Let them see your mouth.
Oh, Mom, I'm actually crying.
In the now deleted channel, Daddy of 5, parents Mike and Heather were sentenced to 5 years probation after all their harmful pranks, screaming at their kids on camera, and just overall horrific parenting.
So you all made me go through all this just for a stupid prank?
And somehow we see this behavior over and over again with family vloggers.
I'm gonna cut that out. You get down and you be quiet.
No one can forget the horrific punishments by Ruby Frankie of the 8 Passengers channel, banning her son from his own bedroom for 7 months over a prank.
Do you think it's funny? Because
And then I walk out.
if you think it's funny, then maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not.
Threatening to cut up her daughter's stuffed animal.
I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm gonna cut its head off.
Holy so
refusing to feed her kindergartner who forgot her lunch at home.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher. Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
Ruby Frankie's harsh parenting lessons alongside Jodi Hildebrandt were seen by millions, eventually leading to both women's arrest after Ruby's son was brave enough to escape their home in terrible, terrible conditions.
This is her 12-year-old son who escaped from her business partner's house, Jodi Hildebrandt, and ran to neighbors' houses. And the most disturbing part, I won't even show you, but if you watch Hulu, you can see it in the episode of 2020, when they took the duct tape and the saran wrap off, he had large, gaping, open wounds from where ropes and handcuffs had cut into his skin.
Even if it's not physical harm, there are so many examples of family channels with harmful content or just posts that are morally wrong. Maybe you remember when the LeBrant family clickbaited cancer. Now, you might be thinking, well, not every family content creator is harming their kids or clickbaiting cancer, right? Well, I'm not a parent, so if you are and you have a different opinion, please let me know in the comments. But in my opinion, the constant presence of a camera in a child's life seems like it can be harmful in and of itself. Like, I choose to sit in front of a camera. A child in these family channels doesn't have that choice. Think about it. Having your entire life filmed and posted online can change a child's perception on privacy. Refilming lines and faking emotions for the camera can make their life feel like it's just one big performance. And once they're old enough to get a hold of an iPad, reading the comments can really take a toll on their self-esteem. I mean, heck, sometimes reading my comments takes a toll on my self-confidence, and I am a full-grown adult who chooses to post these things. Not to mention, there are real safety concerns. You never know who's watching your videos. Kids have been doxxed, stalked, approached by fans in public. In a more recent story, people started doxing Stephanie of the Resilient Jenkins after she started sharing way too much information about where they were located. Some children may become targets of identity theft, where people online take their images and use them to roleplay as their own parents. And maybe the most disturbing of it all, everything that's online stays online forever. Children who grow up online completely lose their right to control their digital footprint. Years later, their future employer might find an embarrassing video of them that they have no control over. Which leads me right into our next section. Is there anything that can be done? For years, child influencers have been in somewhat of a legal gray area. Of course, there are plenty of laws in place for traditional child performers, like the Coogan Law, which requires that 15% of a child actor's earnings be saved in a trust for them. But these children aren't technically actors, and their content isn't technically a movie, so these laws don't apply to them. In Europe, in a case against Google, the court declared that residents could have content and information actually removed from Google's search database. This is called the right to be forgotten. And in Europe, kids can actually request to have their content removed. Unfortunately though, we don't have anything like this in the US, where so many of these family vloggers are located, leaving children completely unable to control the videos online. There is some hope though, because in the last 2 years, more and more people have been advocating for these kids, leading to more and more legislation getting passed.
Children from before they are born to the day they turn 18 have become the stars of family businesses on YouTube, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Specifically, many parents film their regular family life as an online video blog called a vlog. But I want to be clear that there is never, ever a good reason for posting your children online for money or fame. There is no such thing as a moral or ethical family vlogger.
That video was of Sherry Frankie, who's the daughter of Ruby Frankie, who's one of the leading voices of this movement. And she's a huge, huge reason as to why these laws are finally getting put into place. In August 2023, Illinois became the first US state to pass a law guaranteeing that children in online content get a share of the earnings.
Illinois is now the first state in the country to have a law protecting child influencers.
But we're saying, okay, if you're going to do this, we've got to create some parameters on this. we've got to create some protections. If you're going to use your children who may or may not be willing, participants in this, we've got to protect their economic interests so that when they become an adult, they have something to show for all their efforts.
This was a huge, huge deal and super exciting for advocates. The law also gives former child influencers the right to sue their parents if these earnings were not given to them. Lawmakers also tried to include something that was similar to the right to be forgotten over in Europe, but unfortunately it was dropped due to enforceability concerns. Still, this law in Illinois was groundbreaking and actually led to a bunch of other states following as well, like in California, where a ton of family vloggers live. In 2024, 2 bills were passed to extend child labor protections to children on social media as well. Again, this means that family channels are required to set aside a certain percentage of money for their children. They also now limit the amount of hours that children are now allowed to work in monetized content. So parents are actually legally supposed to track the hours that the kids are working as well as track their earnings. Is this enforceable? Honestly, I'm not 100% sure, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Believe it or not, this California law sparked a movement of family vloggers leaving the state.
The assumption that we move to avoid paying our children is so laughable, considering how many times we've talked about financial planning and investing.
I just wanted to touch on the elephant in the room. More on the bad news side. We're planning on moving out of California.
I mean, it's all alleged, but what a coincidence, right? The good thing is that more and more of these laws are passing in other states, and I'm hoping throughout the entire US soon. Now it's time to get into our question of the day. Is posting your children online ever okay? Like, what about a picture or a video on grandma's Facebook? Is it all off limits? Honestly, it's kind of hard for me to say considering that I'm not a parent myself. What I do know, however, is that making money off of your children's content is way different than just posting a blurry selfie now and again.
I am proud to be one of the first child influencers in the state of Utah to speak against this issue. I want to be absolutely clear that there is no amount of money that can justify selling your soul as a child to the world. In no other industry would we justify unregulated child labor with a huge paycheck, and we should not do that here.
And if you ask me, that's the part that really needs to get addressed. The good news is that more and more creators are starting to wake up to these dangers of social media and are posting their kids less and less. One great example is Matt and Abby, whose kids used to kind of be the center of their content, and now they rarely ever post them at all. While Matt and Abby are controversial in a ton of other different ways, at least they're not exploiting their children online. And to that, I give them a round of applause. Some creators never show their kids' faces at all, and others limit it to only special events like Christmas or birthdays or Mother's Day. Seeing more and more creators make decisions like this feels like a huge step in the right direction.
Where you're 17, almost 18 years old, if you want to share some of those real life, feelings and memories and aha moments, that's totally okay because you're an adult at that point.
Yeah.
But I am gonna really limit and not even really have much at all of real life personal moments for my kids or my teens.
If you're a content creator watching this and you're overthinking everything that you've ever posted online about your kids, take a deep breath. Listen, nobody's perfect. And just the fact that you're watching this video right now must mean that you're doing something right. So let's talk about a few ways that you, as a creator, can actively work to protect your kids online. And again, if you're a parent and you have some other ideas, please drop them in the comments, help someone else out. Number 1, delay sharing. Honestly, I do this personally, even without kids, just because it's a huge safety concern. So instead of posting where you are in real time, just delay it a little bit. So for example, when I'm at my workout classes, I'll take a picture, then I'll go home, and then I'll post it. Number 2, keep your vulnerable moments private. I'm hoping that if you're watching this, it doesn't really need to be said, but posting things like tantrums, punishments, maybe keep them to yourself. Again, if you're a parent and you have a different feeling on this, please leave it in the comments, but this is just how I feel. Number 3, if your child is featured in monetized content, whether through platform monetization like the Creator Fund or brand deals as well, make sure to save a percentage of those earnings for your child. Quick little side note about myself, I actually worked as a child when I was 14 on tour as a dancer. And while I'm certain that they would have done this anyways, my parents were legally required to save a certain amount of money for me in an account that I then got access to when I became an adult. So even if you don't live in California or Illinois or any of the other states passing laws about this, do your part to set aside money for your kids anyways. I promise that they will thank you when they become an adult. Number 4, consider blurring your kids' faces or just limiting their presence on social media. This is a great option if the thought of AI or identity theft or the creepy people that could be watching, if any of that freaks you out, maybe consider blurring their faces. Number 5, turn off the comments. At this point, YouTube actually disables the comments on any content that's made for kids or that features kids, although a lot of these family channels get away with their comments still being on. But for the other social media platforms as well, consider turning off the comments. This way your child doesn't have any way to see anything negative about themselves being said online. And it can also protect them against people who leave comments with bad intentions. And lastly, number 6, let your children opt out. Again, I might not be around kids 24/7, but I do know that forcing a camera in their face all the time is probably not the best thing for them. So if they do try to set a boundary and say no, just respect it. As viewers, we play a role in this too. If you see content on social media that feels exploitative, don't engage with it, just report it. You don't have to comment, you don't have to like, just simply report it. And when you see creators who are doing it right, support them. Those are the creators that you want to follow, that you want to comment on, all the things. Let's make sure that we're uplifting creators who respect boundaries, who aren't exploiting their kids, who put protection over profit, because clicks do not justify harm and childhood should not be monetized.
I don't think you're going to be able to eat. But if you're not responsible for your lunch, that's the natural consequence. And I'm really sorry you're learning this the hard way.
If we're being honest, family content probably isn't going anywhere, but the way that we create it and consume it is what we do have control over. And the good news is that it seems to be slowly evolving. The laws are catching up. The kids are starting to speak out.
I don't think I've ever shared this before. I was 15 after that video came out in the controversies. She ran into the living room and she was like, "You bitch, you did that on purpose. You knew what you did. You knew what you were saying." And she was just yelling, and I haven't seen this out of her in a long time.
And the ethics are more and more clear. If your child is your content, they deserve payment. They deserve safety. They deserve breaks. And they deserve the same care, protection, and respect that you would give them prior to your career as a content creator. If you found this video informative, please give it a like. It really helps out the channel and helps me create more videos just like this one. And while you're at it, make sure that you're subscribed as well, because we have tons of other videos that are coming up in the future. And don't forget to comment your thoughts on this topic. I know that it's a little bit of a controversial one, but I'm interested to hear your opinions and have a conversation about it. Thanks for watching. Remember to unfollow unethical creators, and I'll see you in the next one.